not anymore because, yeah, since the light has come, since those songs came through me, we talked about it in the Dutch interview that I did feel a lot of doubt because all of the songs, we'll probably talk more about it, but that all of the songs came from A Course in Miracles and that they were like containing Christian terminology, and I was very allergic to that. So then there was a lot of doubt and feeling like I would never make these songs into an album. But once I actually really truly in my heart said, yes, I want to do this, and that was, as I told you before at the Voice of Holland, where I just really felt like the only thing I want to use my voice for is to communicate love and to support people that are listening to my music. I want my music to support them in their journey of awakening. And I really felt like I didn't want to use my voice for anything less than that goal. So The Light Has Come is like, that's the only goal The Light Has Come has, the album. So yeah, and I see everything that came from it. Also, so many beautiful things and so many fun things. Like, it's not boring at all. It's like I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Like, I've already been to Mexico by an invite and recorded a music video there. I've been touring through America. I've been performing in St. Quentin State Prison and just so many beautiful things. Next year I'm going to New York and to Boston, and so many more adventurous stuff is going on. So yeah, for me it's all like a full yes now, to just follow, to just listen and follow the inspiration, follow the love that I feel inside of me, and yeah, it feels good now. Yeah.
So not afraid that this prize is like an ego thing, that, well, I won a prize 10 years ago for my radio work, and I know next week I was thinking, what's the next prize I'm gonna win, or
right.
What's the next big thing what's gonna shine on me?
Right.
How does that work for you?
Right. Well, for one, I really didn't feel like I won the prize. For me, it really feels like the album.
Yeah.
The album won the prize, and there's so many people that collaborated in making that album become The Light Has Come. So it doesn't feel, for one, it doesn't feel personal for me. And the only real credit I always take with the album, what I tell people as well, is just the courage that it took for me to step back and really follow into the unknown. Mm-hmm. Like it was just all so new for me, and the album also came in a time where I felt like my whole life was just upside down and everything was just scary, and to then still have the courage to just step back and follow, even though you have no securities, don't even know, in the beginning I don't even know like who's gonna listen to this, how am I gonna finance this, how is this gonna be, like all of that, to not know that, and then to win the award afterwards, it's just like a funny and beautiful symbol of like, we got you, don't worry, and it's time to shine your light, it's time to really do what you came here to do. Yeah. So
it's about trust.
Definitely. Trust is a very important part of the journey. And
all those life coaches tell me I have to trust myself, I have to gain self-confidence. Is it about that kind of trust, or in what or who do you trust?
Well, then we come a little bit to the Course in Miracles, because the Course says whenever you feel anxiety, whenever you feel scared, just paraphrasing right now, it's because you're trusting upon your own strength. And so I get what the life glass, that's of course like the common thing. You need to trust in yourself, and you need to, be not be insecure or whatever. But from the Course point of view, it's more like we really don't know what the heck we're doing here. And from my own experience, I know that every time I try to do something myself and just only rely on my own self, that's like the I call it more the ego self, like the small self. When you rely on the small self, the neda, like I know best. It's actually constantly trying to prove that it can live a life without God. It's constantly saying like, I can be here, I can be happy here on my own without God.
Yeah, separated,
exactly. And to trust on yourself with a capital S, maybe that's what they're meaning then. is for me to not trust on that little ego that thinks it can do everything here, but to trust on, okay, I'm just dreaming of being Netta, being this singer, but that's not who I truly am. Who I truly am is, I can't even describe that. That's just pure love, pure light. I'm still in the mind of God. I never separated from God. And there is a part of me that still knows that still remembers that. And you can call that the right-sided mind. And you can call that the Holy Spirit. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. Some people, Holy Spirit, what? But there is a part of you that knows that it's actually home, that knows that it's safe, that knows that it could have actually never separated from its source. And trust in that. Because if you let your life, if you trust on that and follow that voice that knows who you truly are, then everything just becomes an expression of that knowing. And then there's this prayer from A Course in Miracles says, I'm only here to be truly helpful. I'm here to... I kind of lost it now. I'm only here to be truly helpful. I do not have to worry about where to go or where to be, for he who sends me will direct me. And the part to only be truly helpful actually means, like, to be truly helpful is to remember who you are, to remember that you are not separated and that you can never separate yourself. And when you remember that, you are truly helpful for somebody else, because we are one. There's only one of us. So if I remember that, like even now with us talking, if I have that in my mind, I unconsciously remind you of that fact. Mm-hmm. And the same goes for you. If you ask me questions from knowing that you are perfect love and that you're not separated, you're going to have a totally different conversation with me than when you think like, I'm guilty, she's guilty. And so, yeah, to just come back to your question, follow the voice, follow the spirit, the being, the part of your mind that knows that it's at home. Don't follow the voice that says that you are separated and that you need to do this, I need to do that. And
self-improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you came from the voice of Holland to the voice of God.
Yes.
You could call it. Yeah.
Which is the meaning of my name as well. Actually.
Neda.
Yeah, Neda means the voice of God.
Yeah.
Or inner voice.
Great.
So that's cool.
And are you the only artist in Holland who sings about the Course in Miracles, or have you discovered other performers?
Definitely not in Rotterdam. There is one person in America, James Twyman, who is also doing, he wrote like very short songs of every lesson, just like a repetition of the lesson. There are a few Dutch artists also who have done it more like classical and also in Dutch. So the way that this album came through, I don't think it's ever been done. Yeah. And I feel like it was there for a reason as well, because it's so easy to listen to. But yet it contains all of these lyrics that is, for a lot of people, it's just a lot easier when they don't have the time to read the whole course book, or when they feel they can't connect with it yet, they can just listen to the album and get all of these lessons and actually feel it. Because sometimes when you just only read it, or when you hear somebody speak, you can't actually feel it. But when you hear music, our heart opens up and you can let the music come in, and that's when you can experience what the lessons are saying. So I think that's the power of music. And yeah, it's just nice to have like this sort of like brainwash when you're hearing a song and you just have it stuck in your mind. You actually have the lesson of the day stuck in your mind. So I know that's what I hear from a lot of course students, that why they love listening to the album.
And what happens if you haven't heard of A Course in Miracles and you listen to your CD, The Light Has Come?
It's okay, yeah, you can just still probably enjoy it. It's, yeah, the only thing that might be an obstacle is, like I said, the Christian terminology. That was an obstacle for me. Yeah. Like, the Course in Miracles is not a religion, and it's not, it just uses those words, and it took a few years for me to really open up to those words and just erase my own negative associations with them. Because for me, then God was just like, oh, like God, like felt like this man that was like there with like a long beard and like sitting on a cloud just judging us, and you know, why all of this he and like brother, why is it not sister and mother and daughter, and but I feel like it's everything that triggers us is a call for love. Everything that triggers us is a call for forgiveness, is a forgiveness opportunity. So even when you have problems with those words, if they do something with you, that's actually just showing you something in your mind that wants to be seen and wants to be healed. So then now I always say, like, especially when women have such problems with why everything is like in the male form, Father, Brother, Son, Holy Son of God, say like we actually have a extra how you say, like it's even better for us because men wouldn't have that problem, so we get like extra points for healing that part, you know, that feels excluded. Like again, the course has the only problem there really is that we believe in the separation, and the only answer is that could never happen. So everything just refers back again to I'm feeling excluded. That's because I actually believe that I left God, and that God left me, and that we're not together anymore, that we're separate, and now we're just running away from that big guilt, trying to just build a life to sort of like get away from that and just project out that guilt into everything else so that we don't have to deal with it ourselves. So it's projected out into TV, in the world, in the news, what we see, and our partners. They're very good victims we're projecting our guilt onto. And yeah, once you're busy with the course and you're doing the lessons, it's like you realize that everything I see outside of myself is just a projection that comes from my mind. So whenever you're triggered, it's just a big invite to see, what am I believing? Because this is me, I'm you, you know, you're me. There's only one mind. So it becomes very interesting the moment you get triggered and you see that it's not something outside of you that can ever trigger you. Because otherwise, everything should trigger everybody the same way. And that's not true. Because for some people, to come back to the Christian terminology, for some people they feel a lot of love when they read it, and for some people they don't. So it's never the thing outside of us that triggers us, or that is the cause of our suffering. It's always just the trigger. It's always just the salt in the wound. But if there wouldn't be a wound, there wouldn't be any pain. So you can what we're trying to do now is to get rid of all the salt. But why not go to the wound and heal the wound, and the salt doesn't have any effect on us anymore.
What about those people who are protesting today in Paris? They have the yellow vests on. Yeah, maybe you heard something about it in the news.
I actually did.
There's thousands and thousands of people in Paris protesting against the government because they think there's too much tax on the gas price. Are those people also searching for home?
Are they also what?
Searching for home, searching for God. Is that just a manifestation of the same? They think the government is the problem. Yeah. The high oil price.
Yeah. Yeah. The Course also said that either you're calling for love or you're extending your love. So if you're calling for love, that means that you're actually forgot that you are love, because you can't call for love if you remember that you are love and you really feel that. And when you're extending love, it's in a moment when you are really connected to yourself and you do remember, like, this is who I truly am, and you just extend that, it only becomes bigger and more. So there's no exception for that. How bad it looks, it's always a call for love. And yeah, it's the same for them, and they might not see it like that, and you also don't have to tell them like, oh, I see you're just calling for love.
Here's the CD of
you want a hug, you know, like it doesn't work like that. It's of course unconsciously, and you don't have to say that neither. You don't have to say that out loud. But if you see that and you just remember that, then it's already different. And if I react to that, like let's say I get all mad and I would look at the news and they're protesting or whatever it is, and I would get so mad, like, oh, why are they doing that? Can they just, they just have that call for love, and why do they keep calling? Like, it's clear that I'm triggered as well. So it's important to first always deal with your own call for love. And if you're totally feeling peaceful and totally loved, and you see somebody struggling, then you can maybe offer to help, or to offer, I don't know, like even to just not say anything, but see somebody going through suffering, but see them for who they truly are. That's already being truly helpful. Then you're already helpful, because on the level of the mind, you're then not confirming that they are separate bodies that are like having all of these problems, but you're confirming them that they're actually totally complete and that they don't need anything, and that they are already home. What does it do?
Does it have effect on that person?
I think so. Yeah? I see that in prison a lot. That's what I really try to put to practice when I work in prison. Because I feel like prison is such a beautiful symbol, you know, because it's an actual prison, but I see it as a symbol for my mind, you know, that is still locked.
Yeah.
And all of the boys in prison, when they behave in such a way, like my ego could say like, oh, I'm really not like them. Look at them going like this and acting out like that. And then if I get really still, I can actually see that all of the boys are just me. They're just reflecting a part of my mind that is just playing out in front of me. And if I see it like that, it's very valuable, because then I get to know my own mind, and I get to know where I can which parts of my mind still need some light. But I always try to really, in my mind, just remember, like, they are not guilty. They are innocent. They're
even the murderers.
Yeah, even the murderers. I thought I would have problems with more
sexual
offenders, yeah. And it was a whole process for me to actually get to the point where I was working with them. And even there, I could really say in my mind, like, I love you, I love you, I love you. I would like literally look at them and just really feel that in my mind. And it might sound weird for some people, and I get it. When I was younger, I was literally the one that said, okay, I love everybody except people who do those kind of things. They can die, you know. I was really extreme about that. And for me to now really see, like, there's really no difference. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't have any prisons, or that, oh, you rape somebody, you kill somebody, oh, you just need love, let me give you a hug. Of course it doesn't work like that. But on the level of the mind, there's really only either a call for love or an extension of love. And to see that, I feel when I work with these boys, and I don't approach them as you are guilty and you need to be punished, but suffer here for what you've done, but to see them as, okay, you're my brother, you were confused, just like I've been many times, and still will be probably many times, and you've been asking for love.
In a very wrong way.
In a very twisted way.
Yeah, disturbed, confused way. Confusion is a good word.
Exactly. Yeah. But when I approach them like that, I see them open up. And then we write songs, and we really write some beautiful and deep songs that even the other teachers and the guards, they just start crying when they hear the songs, and like, oh my gosh, I never knew that this boy had that in him. And that's very touching and beautiful. And
you're never afraid, because you're a young, good-looking woman. You're amongst boys who are in prison. You could think that, well, it's not a very safe place to be for you, or doesn't that feel like that?
No, I never really felt like that. No, there's, of course, I'm also human, so sometimes for me, I can also forget that, you know, I have my own call for loves as well. So it's not like there has been some, not like confrontations or situations that I felt like, oh, this wasn't the nicest situations I ever been in. But I feel like it's all for me, you know. It's all to learn, and it's all for healing. It's all to heal your own mind, and we're all in this together, you know. We don't heal alone, and there is only one mind. So yeah, it's when you really start seeing it like that, then you know, like there's no you, there's no me, there's only one of us. So if I'm now gonna try to hurt you, I'm only hurting myself. So, and yeah, so it's constantly getting back to that, to the forgiveness, to remembering that we are still home, and that there really didn't go anything wrong. We didn't separate ourselves from God, and in that way, like we talked to in the Dutch interview about the true forgiveness that the Course in Miracles is talking about, and that's not about forgiving somebody for what he did, but forgiving somebody for what he did not do. That's like a real radical approach to forgiveness, but for me it's the most beautiful tool that I put to practice in daily life. Yeah.
So you could say, when you go to prison, it's not about teaching them something. You are taught also. They're a teacher to you also. It's one thing working both ways.
Yeah.
Or how does that work? You come out a different Neda than you went into the prison, or what does it do with you?
Yeah, for me, again, like I say, it's always about trying to be truly helpful. So while you're still just normal, like I'm still coming there, I'm still just making maybe some talks with everybody and doing some games, and then we write a song and we record the song. Like that's all for me, that's more the practical. The practical approach to it, and also just like it's a tool to communicate with them. The music is, and to open up, also have them more talk about their lives and really get to something for them to share something vulnerable. A lot of those boys, they always feel like, oh, just shut down and just keep everything for yourself, very closed. And then the music is inviting them to open up, and it's very beautiful. And yeah, for me, it's like I said, for me, it's just that symbol of my own mind. So it just, every time that I'm with one of them, I just get to know my own mind. That's how I see it. So it's just a whole big mind training to see, like, okay, where do I still close myself off, or where am I not trusting people? Where am I feeling that I'm afraid that people will stab me in the back, or that I can't really open up because they will turn against me, or like all of those little things that they're just reminding me of that. And yeah, I learn a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And are you tired when you come home, or are you inspired from such a trip?
Well, we talk about it a lot with the other teachers as well, because we have a big team. It's for Young in Prison. It's the organization that is organizing this, and we have a lot of teachers, and some are teaching basketball, and others are teaching graffiti and theater, rap, spoken words. We have all kinds of things, and every time we walk out of the prison, everybody goes like, like we just take a deep inhale, because it does tend to be pretty intense. Like it's not something I could do every day. So we only do that in the holidays, and then it's like a week or 2 weeks max. And then you do need a little time to reflect, because it can be pretty intense. Just the whole energy inside of the prison walls. For me, I'm very sensitive, so it does feel like I need to go into nature. So a lot of times after I've been to prison, I'll go take a walk in nature and just really also let go of everything. And also another practice, what it was for me, like in the past I used to be the one that always felt like I had to help others. They called the unhealed healer in the Course in Miracles. Talks a lot about it. It's a funny subject when you recognize that with yourself, that you always know best. Like I was always the one that always knew best for all my brothers and sisters. I could always heal them. I would always know like the books that they had to read, you know, like medicine. You need to read this book, you know, you might recognize that. Oh, you need to read this. Oh, you just...
This is good for you.
This is good for you, exactly.
Yeah.
It's called the unhealed healer, you know, when you're not fully there yet and you're just projecting your own shit basically on somebody else. So, yeah, for me it's also interesting to see now that to have that sense of true empathy, and true empathy means that you actually, like I said, really know that somebody doesn't need anything. Like, you're already complete. You're not this sad little mess that I need to save, fix or whatever.
Yeah.
You are my brother in Christ, and you're perfect as you are. And all that can go wrong is that you believed in a separation, and that you believe that you're guilty instead of innocent. And that's the only part where you can be truly helpful, is to remind yourself and remind the other that that's not true, and that doesn't have to be vocally again. But so yeah, it's good for me also to practice the true empathy, and to see, like, because a lot of them also experience a lot of trauma in their lives, of course, and to just remember that that everybody has what they need to get where they need to be,
and they're already home. That
they're already home. Yeah. That's indeed, like you said, that's the most important part. That you don't have to fix anybody. Everybody's already home. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way of saying. Back to you as an artist, Neda the artist.
Neda the artist.
I have two questions which popped up in my mind. Are there any songs which didn't make it to the album, and why didn't they make it to the album, and what were those songs about? I know from artists they mostly make like 30 songs and then only 15 get to the album. How did that come about for you?
No, that wasn't for this album. Like I told you in the other interview, this album came to be. We have it here. Because not 2 years ago, like in the meantime, like 4 years ago, I felt like as if somebody was just pulling me towards the piano. The Course in Miracles book was lying open on one of the pages, lesson 124, I think. Let me remember I'm one with God. And I just started playing, writing, and the whole song just came through in like 30 minutes, with lyrics all coming from that workbook lesson. And that just repeated itself for 2 weeks. And then I think I had 14 songs. Well, now that we talk about it, there was a little creepy. There were 14 songs, and then I thought, okay, I'll have an intro and an outro, so that will be 16 songs. But then along the way, after I fully said yes to the album, so that was a few years after, there came one of my favorite songs, called God is the Love in Which I Forgive. And that truly came after a point where I was just really busy with forgiveness, actually for the first time really understanding what true forgiveness means. And there were so many things going on in my life where I really needed to put this to practice. And then this song came through, so I really felt like this is part of the album. And then there was the song Take Me Home. You might know that song, that is not based on the Course in Miracles, that doesn't have any lyrics. This is the only song that is on the album without any chorus lyrics. And that song is really about my own journey. The first verse says, I'm so afraid of the unknown. I'm so afraid to be alone. I try to hear your guiding voice, but still I don't know where to go. I see your hand next to mine and I'm holding on so tight. Please promise me you'll never let go. Take me home today. I want to go home today. Take me home where I truly belong. Take me home today. So this is like really about that, what we're just talking about, like just that moment where you just don't know that you're already home, but wanting to be home.
That longing.
That longing to get back to where you truly come from. And I always joke to my friends, the album is called The Light Has Come, but I was always saying, like, I'm going to call it The Darkness Has Come, just because there was just so many darkness coming up in making this album. And I feel I just had to become aware of those parts in my mind that I was hiding for so long. And when the light came, it was like it finally, there was finally an invite for all of this stuff to come up, and it was pretty intense. So I really felt like I wanted to put that song on the album as well. Other things that didn't make the cut were just like I had these little mini interludes that I just added later and that I took off again, because then it would be like 23 songs or something on the album, so it was way too much. So that's
can you name an example of what kind of stuff that came up from your childhood, from maybe previous lives, parents, godmothers? What does come up? What is the darkness for you?
Yeah, well, for me, first of all, it was just the project itself that I didn't know anything. Like I said, I didn't know how to finance it. I didn't know what to do. So that was, first of all, very scary for me to just fully surrender. And with that came all the insecurities of, I'm not good enough, and my voice is not good enough, I'm not a good of artist enough, I'm not, like, everything is just like not good. I'm just not good.
Not worthy.
Not worthy. So that came up. And then at the time when I was making the album, there were just so many things going on in my life. My uncle just passed away, and then my aunt, who was like a mother for me, really didn't want to live anymore. So it was like really dealing with that. And eventually, she just like really, like, she tried to kill herself like more than 7 times. And my mother is also into the chorus, and she really, she's just such a brave, beautiful woman as well. And she really saw, like, okay, my sister just wants to die, and she's gonna kill herself. So what's the most loving thing to do? So eventually, like, we actually supported her with me, my mom, and my aunt, and my brother, and my dad. And we were actually there with her when she did, like, a self-euthanasia thing, and I sang for her, and my mother played the violin for her, and it was like really intense building up to that, but it was also really beautiful in a way to really let her go without any guilt, like, for her, because she was like really peaceful before she left. She was just like so grateful, like, that she could die without feeling the guilt
and judgment from your
side.
And
the judgment, so for her it was amazing. But for me, eventually, like, there were more guilt coming up. Like, why couldn't I save her again? Like, that old, like, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or if I was good enough, like, she would, I could maybe say the right things that will wake up her mind again. So, I mean, like, your ego can always take everything and just use it again for its own use. And I do really see that. That was just like such a beautiful example. I also dedicated my CD to her, actually, because it was like such a true opportunity to show what unconditional love truly is. Like, that's really unconditional love, to say, like, whatever you do, even if you want to die, we still love you, like, you're still here. Then there was my relationship that was ending, so at that time there was just like so many things. In the meantime, I was live on television with The Voice, so all these people judging you and like just being in the spotlight. So
what a roller coaster.
Yeah, there were many things, and every song of the album was just carrying me through all of that stuff to be able to sing them, because before I could sing them in the studio, there was just so much of undoing I had to do before I could authentically record that song.
That's a great sentence. Can you repeat that again? So much of undoing you had to do.
Undoing I had to do.
Can you explain it a little bit?
Well, when I wrote the songs, they just came through. Like, I didn't even had anything. There was no interference. And then I recorded a demo. That was also fine. But when I had to actually record them in the studio, that was like the real deal. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't just sing them like that. I had to do a lot of undoing. For example, I also described this in my mini documentary. The song, what I just spoke about, God is the love in which I forgive myself. When I was singing that for the first time in the studio, I just couldn't. Like, the chorus, I couldn't even sing it. Like, my whole voice just got stuck, and it was because I couldn't authentically say that chorus yet. God is the love in which I forgive myself. There were so many things that I didn't forgive myself for yet, that it was just not authentic.
Not true for you.
It was not true. Yeah. So, and it was like that with a lot of songs, that it's not just music, you know, it's teaching something. It's really communicating a message. And it would be an unhealed healer situation if I would sing those songs while I wasn't even really feeling it. So I feel like Spirit, Jesus, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, for me, Jesus is like, now it's like my buddy, it's like my coach, my mentor. It's like just telling me what to do. And I feel like he was really guiding me to be on a level where I could authentically share these songs and authentically record them in such a way that I would really feel that, and in that way other people that would listen to it could really feel it. And that was very important.
And how long did it take, that undoing? Did you have to wait for half a year, or did you have to write things, or talk to people, or talk to yourself, or read the course again?
Yeah, it's different. I think it was just a lot of meditation. I would just meditate before every studio session. I had like 2 studio sessions a week. So I would record about 2 songs a week when the vocal recording was there. Before that, because it's been a whole process, because first I was recording the demos, then I went to the producer, and we sit like for a few months to produce everything, and then we had to record all the instruments live. So we even went to Istanbul to record the percussion over there, because we really wanted a percussionist that lived over there. So that took already a few months to have like the drums and the guitars and the everything just recorded. And then when it was time for the singing part, that took also like maybe 2 or 3 months in total, because I was recording about 2 songs a week, and then the backing vocals and everything. So in my meditation before I would go to the studio, I would just really ask in meditation, like, what song do you want me to sing for today? And then before that, I had a whole process already where I was like just really looking at every song, writing them out, really checking, like, do I really understand what this means? Sometimes I even asked David Hofmeister, like, I actually don't understand what, like, my own song, like, I actually don't understand what this means.
And he explained it to you?
Yeah, and he would explain it to me. Or we would talk about it a little bit. So there was like a process before I went in the studio that I really wanted to go through every song and really see, like, do you understand this? That's when I also came to that song, I'm Not a Body. I think we talked about that another time. Yeah. Where I felt like, oh, how can I sing this? You know, where it says like, the love of God proclaimed me as His son. You know, and so that was all before I went in the studio that I see this, like, oh my gosh, I can't sing that. I need to change it, and then to finally come to that understanding, like, the song is about I'm not a body. The song is about, you know, really non-dualistic. Like, we're not bodies, we're spirit, and we're perfect love that is not a man or a female or anything in between. It just is. And then for me to actually change that is actually confirming, no, I actually am a body. Because if I would change it, then it means that I believe that it needs to there is a category that I do belong to, and there's a category where I don't belong to.
So what did you sing?
So I sang it exactly as it came through. So the love of God proclaimed me as His son, and I had a blast doing that too. Like, I was really feeling like very mischievous, and it was just all so funny, because then in the end it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just
words.
It's just words, and it could just as well be the love of God proclaim me as His daughter or as His dog, whatever it is. But to change it, then it does have meaning. If I would change it, I would say, like, it has meaning. But for me not to change it is actually teaching also that lesson for myself and for listeners. Like, it really doesn't matter. I can sing this as a seeming woman, and I can sing God is the love in which proclaimed me, the love of God proclaimed me as His son, and it's still only saying that I am one with God.
Yeah.
And I'm still with God, and nothing less or more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also do some stuff for Miracles in Contact, a Dutch miracle group who give meetings and so on for young people. Huh? What kind of, because when I mostly see meetings about a course, I see people with gray hair just as myself, and who have glasses just as myself, and who walk a little bit stiff. Are there people in the age of 18, 20 who are feeling this, who are hearing this? Do you talk to those people?
I don't know a lot of people that are 18 or 20, but I mean, I was 20 when the course came into my life, so I was pretty young as well. And there are, especially in David Hoffmeister's, he has a community in America and in Mexico, and he's actually making another community now in, what's it called again, in Spain. I forgot the name, but somewhere in Spain. And there are actually a lot of young people attracted to the community. So a lot of people of my age and even a few years younger. So that's pretty cool. And I think more and more people are now, more young people are now getting to spiritual stuff and non-duality stuff at a younger age. And yeah, I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe because it's now just more available.
The internet. Podcasting.
It's YouTube, and you can just find everything. And also, I think that we're living at such a time where there's such a contrast. There's also so many distraction of like the whole ego world. And then I feel like the more of that there is, then the other side is also going to ask more like, I really want to go home, you know? So eventually we're all already home, so a happy outcome is, of course, guaranteed. But one way or another, like, we're all going home, so it's like whatever, like, it also leads to the same destination. It's just more like how long do you want to take? Like, do you still want to have like thousands more lives where you're just struggling, or do you say like, okay, let me just use this life as productive as I can and use just every opportunity that I get for healing and for forgiveness. Let me just seize that opportunity. And yeah.
Can I ask you something about fear? There's still some things in my life that make me afraid. Okay, I can paraphrase the course, which says that's a great opportunity to forgive. But how does that work then? You know, I'm sitting at home being afraid that my car is stolen. What? Okay, let's take that example. What to do?
Well, I always like the forgiveness process, and that's first of all to just acknowledge that you're feeling fear. Like that's okay, and you're allowed to feel that. And what I used to do is like really spiritualize it, like, oh no, it's all an illusion and fear is not real and you don't feel it. And that's more people, like that's a pitfall for a lot of people, to just all like to not feel anymore.
Wave it away.
It's very important to just also feel it. And
because the fear is real at that time.
It does feel real.
Yeah.
And I like again, David Hoffmeister always says you gotta feel it to heal it. You know, so I like that one. But when you feel anything less than joy, there has to be a mistake. Like there has to be, like I said again, you can only be extending love, or it's a call for love. And when you're calling for love, you forgot that you are love, and a call for love always feels less than joyous. Like it's always, you never call for love where you're totally feeling loved and happy and everything. So you can also measure it by your feelings. Are you feeling pure joy? Okay, good, you don't really need to do anything. But if you feel anything less than pure joy, there's like this little ding dong bell that is just reminding you like, hey, there is another way of looking at this. So then there comes the question like, okay, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Because when we're so mad, and especially a lot of times we feel like somebody else is to blame. So when there's somebody else to blame, it's like, no, I'm actually I have a reason right now for being afraid, or I have a reason right now for being angry
I'm
because
right.
you make me angry.
Yeah.
I am right
Yeah.
and you are wrong,
Yeah.
and you are the cause of my suffering.
Yeah.
So, perfect, fine, okay. You know, a lot of times I feel like, yes, I want to be happy, but I actually a little bit more want to be right. It's all fine, but it's just not going to make you happy. So when you authentically do feel like, okay, I am willing, or maybe even I'm willing to be willing, that's fine too.
Okay.
Like I'm willing to be wrong about this, to be wrong about what I'm feeling right now. Then there's this opening in your mind that is open for a different interpretation. And in that opening, you have the chance to step back again and to let that part of your mind that actually does know that it's truly home, like I said, the right mind inside of your mind, that does know that it's still with God and that never separated and that can never separate. Then you invite that part of your mind in to take over the steering wheel. So practically it's realize that you're upset. Take back your projections. So see that, okay, what I'm seeing right now, what I'm experiencing right now is a projection of my own mind. So I am responsible for what I'm seeing and perceiving and feeling. Like nothing outside of me is causing me any upset without guilt, like, because that can also again be an ego thing of like saying like, oh yeah, I know because I'm so bad and I'm such a loser and I'm so guilty and of course it's my fault. And it's not like blaming yourself neither, because again, yourself, what self are you then blaming? That's always the little self, that's always the personality self, and that's just as much a projection from my mind as you are. Like this is also a projection that I'm projecting. So again, you just got to be very vigilant of the ego with those type of things, because it will join you on every exercise that the Holy Spirit is making up. So once you take back the projection and you take the responsibility of, okay, I'm seeing this because I actually want to see this. Why do I want to see this? Because I want to get rid of my guilt that I have in my mind. And if I see it out there, then it's not in here anymore. But once you see that, then it becomes like, oh, okay, I perceive you as being wrong. Okay, I'm projecting my own guilt on you. Okay, and then comes the next step to just really surrender all of that to the Holy Spirit or whatever symbol feels great for you. It can be a tree or whatever symbol that really stands for you as love. Like it has to be something that stands for that part of your mind that actually knows who you are. So not your little self, but something else like that. And then you just surrender all of that fear onto him, her, it, and you just ask for it to be replaced with the truth. That's how I do it. And what can help also, I like this analogy that Ken Wapnick always uses. Ken Wapnick was one of the first people, you probably know him, that was editing the course all the way in the beginning. And he says, like, it's as if you're sitting in the movies and you're watching your life on the screen. And on one side, you have the ego sitting next to you. And on the other side, you have Jesus or Holy Spirit or whatever sitting next to you. And you're just watching your life go by on the screen while you just relax. You're nothing wrong. You're just sitting there with your popcorn. And whenever you feel upset, it's because you're identifying with what you're seeing on the screen. And you're on this side, you know, the ego is talking to you in this ear, and you're listening to the ego, and the ego's interpretation of what you're seeing is making you feel a certain way. But when you see that, again, you come out of being identified with, oh, I am Netta, and this is happening to me, and that is my car that is being stolen, or that's going to be stolen. You just, as the Course says, become above the battleground. Like, you're not in it anymore, but you're just, like, coming out of it. And then you can turn away from it and listen to a different interpretation. And you can listen to the Holy Spirit's interpretation and see it from the point of view that knows I am still home and I am loved and I'm not innocent. And then you can just see it so innocent, like, oh, I'm afraid that my car is gonna get stolen, and what does that actually really means? You know, you can get under those layers of, well, you know, if my car gets stolen, that means that I am not worthy, and you know,
someone is cheating on me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you can get to all those things, and nowadays, like it's almost 2019, we have so many practical applications to do this, so many tools. So I also love the Spiri app. I don't know if you heard about it, but maybe a lot of iPhone listeners or not. If you don't have an iPhone, you can check it on Facebook Messenger. Is this app that David Hofmeister created that actually guides you through these steps, the levels of the mind, and it really guides you through like what's underneath it. Like I said, you can just remove the salt, but you know, when somebody else comes along and throws salt in your wound again, there's always going to be new salt, you know? So to get to the core of the belief, to get to the really deep wounds, he has a really cool app for that, and it shows also a lot of videos that are related to every subject. So it's called Spiri, so Spiri, and it's also on an app, but it's also in Facebook Messenger, like one of those bots, and you can just type in your problems, and then it just guides you through those levels of A Course in Miracles. It's pretty cool. So
yeah. And where can your music be found?
So you can go to my website. That's nedaboin.com. So NEDABOIN.com, or Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, iTunes, any streaming website, wherever. But if you want to get like the product, which is just very beautiful.
With beautiful paintings? Beautiful
paintings by Willem Glaudemans. He actually translated the course in Dutch. He was one of the head translators. So he's also a great painter, which I didn't know, but like I said, all the collaborations, everybody came together. So this is very beautiful. So this you can only get at my website, so nedaboin.com. And anything else you can get everywhere.
And any performances coming up on, maybe you talked about America you're going to visit in 2019?
Yeah, that's in March in New York.